Welcome back to my channel. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Buckle up. It's been 6 days of this video, having back in April 2022 of this year. Democrat Party paying KKK and white supremacists through SPLC nonprofit charge in 11-count attempt. So it's tied to its past pay use of informant experiment groups. So let's go ahead and get into the video, shall we? Alright, let's go into it.
And you're alleging that the Southern Poverty Law Center was paying the leaders of KKK and other groups to continue their operations? Is that?
I'm not alleging. All right, here we go again. Here we go again. The Democrats have been exposed again, except for this time, this one is even more outrageous than I could have even imagined. Now, we know that they've been funding these No Kings protests. We know that they've been funding these anti-ICE protests. That's a given. We even hear it from the people that are on the ground themselves protesting. They have no idea why they're there. They've been paid to be there. They're being bussed around the country. And since that USAID slush fund was decapitated by Doge and President Trump when Trump was coming into office, they haven't had the funds to be able to turn up like they really would like to. And for those of y'all that don't know what turn up means, that means to get crazy and get real active. The Democrats will love nothing more to have huge riots and rallies going all around the country at the same time, causing as much destruction as possible. But they couldn't do it, right? They couldn't afford it with their slush fund shut down, and they're not going into their pockets. And George Soros is already funding most of the bullcrap that they're doing, as well as stuff around the world. So his ducats are running a little thin, especially since the Trump administration are all on top of his and his son's case. So what did the Democrats do? They created nonprofits. And they also have NGOs, which are non-government offices, right? So now with these nonprofits, it has been exposed, it has been discovered that the Democrat Party in the United States of America, through their nonprofits, have been collecting donations and sending that money to the Nazi organizations here, the white supremacist groups here, and the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan itself, which was started by the Democrats. So when you really think about it, it's kind of like the chickens coming home to roost. They're just now exposed on a public stage for the organization that they were tied to and have always been tied to. Except for now, they even have black people that are so deranged within that party, even they are racist against their own people. But here's the kicker now with the Democrats. At one point in time, they just hated black people. Now, they hate black people and they hate white Christian men. They can't stand us. But guess what? What we gonna do? We gonna take that hate that they throw out and we gonna embrace it and use it as love. I got love for each and every one of you that are watching this right now, because in this video, I'm gonna bring you into the debacle that is the Democrat Party, where they've been exposed for paying for all of the white racist and white supremacist things that was happening in the country. Come to find out, these clowns did it. As a matter of fact, I wanted to take you back down memory lane or something and answer me this. Do you remember this? Because after this clip, we gonna roll on. And when you see what's been happening and the indictment, you realize if you ever voted Democrat or know anybody who is a Democrat, you show them this. Because one thing, some people are just deranged and they think the Democrats have high moral ground. They can't run away from the fact that they've been paying and working with the KKK, the white nationals, and the white supremacist group and the Nazi, the American-based organization. But remember this clip? And we know we don't like Scamala. It's only 17 seconds. Remember this?
Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember.
Now, despite the fact she decided to bring this bowl eye up during the debate, where we all know the clip is out there where President Trump said everybody in the crowd was not neo-Nazis and white nationalists. There was very fine people on both sides talking about the people. She knew that. She also knew, allegedly, and I'm not alleging what the nonprofit did, talking about her knowledge. Allegedly, she knew that the Democrat Party was funding that in Charlottesville. The Democrats paid white nationals to do all of that protesting and all of that ruckus and to start those fights. Is the same thing like Antifa does, except for these people have started putting on MAGA hats and America shirts and going out there. How many other things have happened that they said was MAGA and really it's a Democrat who is putting on MAGA gear, going out there to sow disruption and destruction so that MAGA and Trump gets blamed. Look at President Trump, all the flack he's caught over something he didn't even say. And the Democrats are so weak and have such very few negative things that are truthful that they can say about the president. They make up lies. If he's such a terrible person, you wouldn't need the lies. Now, this says the DOJ says the Southern Poverty Law Center out of Alabama funneled $3+ million to white supremacists and extremist groups like the KKK. DOJ alleges the SPLC used shell accounts and prepaid cards to funnel funds to individuals tied to the KKK and other neo-Nazi groups, y'all. So, real quick, I want you to listen to Attorney General Blanche as he gonna break down what's going on. Then after this, I've got this news report that really ties it all together. I want you to check it out. Watch this.
What about Charlottesville and the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally? Were they involved in that?
Yes. So what we allege in the indictment and what the grand jury found is that one of the individuals that they paid was one of the folks who helped organize that terrible event. And so imagine what we're talking about, Lord. We're talking about an organization that actively came out and just screamed it from the top of their lungs.
So just so people understand, watch this. Did these informants, in some cases, given the evidence you've seen, actually initiate what would ultimately be these activities? And obviously Charlottesville ended with a tragedy.
Well, we know that they were part of those. They were part of it. Whether they were the leaders or the initiators, that'll come out, I think, eventually. But what we do know is that the very entities that this group was raising money to go against are the very entities that they were taking the money in and paying to these entities and these individuals associated with those groups.
What was the money used for?
Well, we don't know. Because again, all we know is that they set up these fictitious bank accounts.
Fake names, like the Constitution Group or whatever it was called. Then they had one called Fox Photography.
Right. They're completely fictitious as far as the investigation has shown, and they were using it simply to funnel money to these individuals. The indictment talks about a situation where they paid an individual to steal documents from the organization and then return the documents. And then when somebody else took the hit for it, they paid that person too to take the hit for that. And
wow. That's the Attorney General and the FBI have exposed. It's not alleged. It's not maybe. The Democrat Party funded the white supremacy that they got black people out here going crazy and blaming Trump about and all Trump because they showing that edited clip of the president saying find people on both sides and where he condemned the white nationalists and the neo-Nazis.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly.
So you got black folks tripping out, and then people are donating money to this group, thinking they're fighting that while they're actually funding that.
Why is Amazon paying me $20,000 a month? Well, I didn't make this kind of money selling yoga mats or toasters, and I wasn't talking my friends into buying vitamins or juices. I did it with a free app that's probably already on your phone, and that app is the Kindle app. I'm going to show you a way to potentially make money by pairing Amazon with the power of AI without ever selling physical products. And I promise you've never heard about this before. I just created some simple digital products. Then I put them up on Amazon, and it was so exciting. The first time I tried it, I made $14, and I was like, oh my goodness, this actually works. Hi, I'm Carla Marie, and the coolest part is Amazon puts over 300 million customers just a click away. So age, experience, qualifications, none of it matters. I want to share my full system with you, but
now, also, while we're talking about these frauds, if you're enjoying this video, hit that like button. And after you hit the like button, if you swipe it over to where you hit like, swipe, you can also hit what's called the hype button. They both help tremendously. If you're enjoying this video, I'll never ask you for a cash app, a super chat, or a donation. But you hitting that like button, it helps a great deal. It lets YouTube know they should share this video with other people. And also, with the engagement, leave a comment. Tell me what you feel after learning that the Democrats funded the Charlottesville and a number of other of these white nationalist Nazi protests that people blamed on the president. How does that make you feel? Share it in the comments. I really do appreciate it. If you're not subscribed already, please subscribe.
I'm gonna put my comment right here. That's my comment. Finally, the spotlight is on the Democrats and the truth about that's my comment, see? Finally, the spotlight is shown on the Democrats. This is my comment. Right there. Finally, the spotlight is on the Democrats. And the truth about how the KKK came about. Hopefully now the truth can be shown. That the Republicans didn't fund or start the KKK, but in reality the Democrats. Back to the video.
Right. Now, in this next clip, the news report, they do an excellent job of breaking it down. And this is John Stossel. John Stossel is awesome with Stossel TV. I'm going to let this clip play in full screen because this is going to give you what the lamestream media would never give you. And when I saw this video and I watched it, because it's got real life people who this group targeted. We talking about mothers just because they're on the Republican side, and these folks are supposedly for peace and protecting the people. It was a sham. It was a scam. It was a fraud. And I'm so happy this 11-count indictment has been brought down on these people. And folks, like I told you, for everybody saying, when are the arrests coming? Remember something. People's memories are very short. So the closer we get to the midterm, you will see the pressure heating up. Because if the Trump administration would have made arrests even right now or late last year, you and I both know the average person, it would have been gone out of their mind come November when it's time to vote. So don't be shocked when you see RICO charges and arrests come down literally a month before, the month of, 2 months prior. So just rest assured it's happening. But check this clip out. I'm playing it in full screen. On the heels of all of the stuff that's taking place in the country right now, seniors, it's extremely important that you make sure you've got the best Medicare plan available because this year, Medicare plans are expected to increase 10%. And that's $215 out of your Social Security check. And guess what? Some of your doctors may not be in network. Some of your prescriptions may no longer be covered. And that would suck for you to be going to visit your doctor to find out they're not in network, or for you to need a prescription to find out it's no longer covered. Why take the risk? With Chapter, you can reach out to Chapter, and a free phone call can last as short as only 20 minutes and speak to one of the highly skilled, unbiased professionals that will help you make sure you got the best Medicare plan available. If you've got the best, great. But if not, they can make sure you've got what you need. So use that number there on the screen or visit the website at askchapter.org/realpolitics and let Chapter make sure you've got everything you need.
There are dangerous hate groups in America. Who will warn us about them? The media tell us.
The Southern Poverty Law Center. The Southern Poverty Law Center.
The Southern Poverty Law Center, based in that building in Alabama, calls itself the premier group monitoring hate groups and other extremists. Looking at their map of hate groups, you'd think hate groups were everywhere. I once believed what the center said. Well-meaning people still do. Apple gave them $1 million. But what donors don't know is that today the center smears good people.
The presence of radical Islam.
This Somalian woman speaks out against radical Islam. For that, the center put her on its list.
Join the fight against hate and bigotry.
Visit splcenter.org. Side sleeper snorers are switching to this instant snoring fix.
Most snoring advice focuses on sleeping on the side and opening the nose. That's nonsense. This is what your throat looks like when you're snoring. You want to take your throat from this to this.
Nose strips, they don't work. Nose strips only open up your nostrils, but that does nothing for a blocked airway. That's why you still wake up exhausted, even if you went to bed early, and still snore. Special pillows, a complete waste of money. They promise to position your head for better airflow. But if your airway is narrowed, no pillow fixes that. You're sleeping on expensive foam and still waking up dead tired, while your wife's sleeping in the guest room. Those cheap mouth guards, useless. Bulky, uncomfortable, taste like chemicals. And they're not adjustable, so you can't position your jaw correctly, which means they don't hold your airway open and you still wake up feeling like you barely slept. And CPAPs, they don't fix the root problem either. CPAP machines just blast air through a blocked airway. They don't open it. Plus, they're loud, expensive, and a nightmare to travel with. And let's be honest, nobody's really happy to wear that. Look, for years I kept telling myself my snoring wasn't that bad. Every guy snores a little, right? My wife didn't see it that way. First came the elbow jabs at 2 a.m., then the sighs, then the fights began because neither of us could sleep anymore. And then she moved into the guest room. It started as just for tonight, turned into every night. I couldn't blame her. We were both running on empty. I was so tired of being tired all the time, and our marriage was falling apart. So I did what any guy would do. I started looking for answers. Tried nose strips, mouth tape, a special wedge pillow. Nothing worked. One night I came home late from work. The house was quiet, too quiet. I called out for my wife. No answer. I found her in the basement. She'd moved a mattress down there. She said she could still hear me snoring from the guest room. Through the walls, through the floor. The basement was the only place she could sleep. I stood there looking at her makeshift bedroom in our cold, unfinished basement, a lamp on a cardboard box. Blankets piled up because it was freezing down there. She looked exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes. She told me she didn't know how much longer she could keep doing this. Not angry, just tired. The kind of tired that ends marriages. That's when I realized just how bad this had gotten. And if I didn't fix it soon, there was a good chance she wouldn't be my wife much longer. That's when I finally decided to see an ENT. What he told me about snoring changed everything. Turns out your weight doesn't really matter. Your sleeping position doesn't matter either. The real problem? When you sleep, your jaw relaxes and falls backward. That drags your tongue with it and blocks your airway. Now you're trying to breathe through a coffee stirrer all night. As the air squeezes through that narrow passage, it vibrates. That's the snoring sound. But here's the scary part. Every time your airway closes, it starves your brain of oxygen. So your brain panics and jolts you awake, just long enough to breathe again. You don't remember it, but this can happen 50 to 60 times a night. That's why you never hit deep sleep, why you wake up exhausted even after 8 hours, why you can't think straight by noon. And when this keeps happening night after night, it can put you at risk for high blood pressure, heart problems, and even dementia. He told me I could try a CPAP machine, but then he basically talked me out of it in the same breath. He said most people quit because they can't stand it. You've got this bulky mask on your face, a hose dragging across the bed, a machine humming next to you all night, and the worst part, it doesn't actually fix the blockage. It just rams air through it. I left that office feeling more stuck than when I walked in. Was this just my life now, separate bedrooms until she finally got sick of it and left for good? So I went home and started digging around online. That's when I found out about MADs, Mandibular Advancement Devices. They're basically mouth guards that hold your jaw forward while you sleep, which keeps your airway open and stops the snoring before it even starts. And they're small enough to throw in your bag when you travel. I thought, okay, this is it. This is the answer. Well, here's where it gets interesting. These MADs, they're custom fit by dentists, which sounds great till you hear the price tag, $2,000. That's just a start. You need visits with different specialists, molds taken, fittings, adjustments over months. And insurance? Yeah, they won't touch it. Look, I wanted my snoring fixed more than anything, but I didn't have $2,000 sitting around. And after finding her sleeping in the basement, after seeing what this was doing to her, I didn't have months to wait around either. So I went online looking for something cheaper. Found a couple of those boil and bite mouth guards. Big mistake. They're bulky, felt like I had a hunk of plastic cemented to my teeth. They forced my mouth shut. I couldn't talk, couldn't even sip water without taking the thing out. No way to adjust them either. And it tasted like chemicals. Then I stumbled on this article about an Italian company called Quiet Lab. These guys had blown up online for making a mouthpiece that works like those pricey custom ones, but here's the thing, it costs way less, and you can use it right out of the box. The Quiet Lab Pro gently keeps your jaw forward while you sleep.
I do think that we have a problem with hate in this country. We put about 10 of these major hate groups out of business.
When I first investigated the center, its leaders wouldn't talk to me. So liberal commentator Nomiki Konst defended them.
They have a long history of fighting against extremists like the KKK.
History, yes, but they labeled skeptical Muslims like Ayaan Hirsi Ali as haters.
you have a horrible experience with religion, that's one thing. It's another thing to use those experiences as ammunition against others who are practicing their religion peacefully.
But they're just speaking, criticizing it.
Of course she has the right to free speech, as does the Southern Poverty Law Center has a right to push back.
We can stand together against hate.
The center also calls the Family Research Council a hate group.
The definition of a marriage is what it's been for 5,000 years. It's the union of a man and a woman.
I often disagree with the council myself, but do they belong on this hate map?
When they don't agree with you politically, they're going to list you as a hater.
You are haters. You hate gays.
No, I don't hate gay people, and I know gay people, and I have worked with gay people.
But once you become a hate group, you're a target.
Developing now, word of a shooting at the Family Research Council there in Washington.
One man was so enraged by what the Southern Poverty Law Center said about the Family Research Council, he went to their headquarters to kill people.
A man shot the security guard in the arm.
Fortunately, that guard stopped the man before he could shoot anyone else.
He told the judge that he was there to kill as many of us as possible because we were a hate group.
The center also smears the Ruth Institute, a Christian group that believes gays should not have an equal right to adopt children. They're not haters.
I like gay people. I have no problem with gay people. That's not the issue. The issue is, what are we doing with kids and the definition of who counts as a parent? There could be cases where the best person for a particular child would be their Uncle Harry and his boyfriend. That could be. But we owe it to the children to give them the best we can, which generally is married mother and father.
So you're a hater. When the Southern Poverty Law Center put the Ruth Institute on its hate map, the Institute's bank cut them off.
We've determined that you're an organization that promotes hate, violence, harassment, and so therefore we're not doing business with you.
The Ruth Institute and the Family Research Council are still on the hate list.
There's no appeal. I sure don't know how you get off.
I suspect the center keeps its hate list long because that brings in lots of money.
Morris Deese's salary is more than my entire annual budget. So yeah, whatever they're doing, it pays.
It sure does. Years ago, Harper's Magazine reported that the center was the richest civil rights group in America, one that spends most of its time and money trying to make more money. They promised to stop fundraising once their endowment reached $55 million. But when they reached $55 million, they changed that to $100 million, saying that would allow them to cease costly fundraising. But when they reached $100 million, they didn't stop. They collected $200 million, then $400 million. Now they've got $730 million. Yet they still smear people to raise more money.
Much of which is in offshore accounts, Caymans and places like that.
How do you know?
Oh, we look at their 990s.
And it says Cayman Islands?
Yeah.
Now the Southern Poverty Law Center calls groups that simply oppose sexually explicit content in schools anti-government extremists. Moms for Liberty and Moms for America are on the hate map because they dare do things like seek school board seats to try to stop districts from disregarding opinions of parents. Give me a break. The center puts them on the hate map, but not Antifa, the hate group that beats up people on the right. The center's become a hate group itself. It's now a left-wing, money-grabbing slander machine.